Viewmasters, it's the podcast that we do. Viewmasters, talk about movies that we view. Viewmasters, my friend Eric and me, Joe. Viewmasters, hey, let's start the show.
Hey! Welcome to the Viewmasters, episode 301. Breaking off another hundo.
Oh, yeah!
Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. My name is Eric.
My name is Joe.
Hello, Joe.
Hello, Eric.
The final one.
Yay! We made it! Only the second movie in the series to feature the word final in the title.
Yep.
And not be the final movie in the series.
No, I'm sure this is the final one.
Yeah?
It says so.
I
mean, I know it said so 5 movies ago.
Yeah.
But, I mean, once you use it twice.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's true. Okay, alright. I forgot about the rule of 2 when it comes to the word final.
Yep.
Oof. Oof my goof. This movie sucks. I gotta say it up top. I hated this movie.
Wow. Bold. Coming in strong. I will say that, I mean, this is the most vocal you have ever been during one of these movies. Usually, you say some stuff here and there, you make a joke, sometimes you make a noise if something gross or scary happens.
Yeah.
But you were all over the map on this one throughout.
Yeah, so this movie is way gorier and just grosser than any of the other ones that came before it.
It is.
And I know this is the only one that came out in the 90s, too, so maybe that's just a sign of the times.
So, I did, I put on the unrated version.
Oh, okay.
Rather than the theatrical version.
Okay. Maybe I would have liked the theatrical more.
I think the movie is pretty much exactly the same. Other than the gore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So, I warned you last time that this movie is weird.
Yes.
Especially compared to the other ones. And that includes the fact that we've had a movie where 2 movies where Jason wasn't the killer.
Yeah.
And in this movie, we get yet another movie mostly missing Jason.
Yeah, it's weird. I thought about it while we were watching. Like, did the fans react to this one the way that they reacted to the one where Jason is just not in it at all?
Pretty much.
Okay, that makes sense.
I do believe so, yeah. This is not very well received.
Yeah, because, in this one, Jason is jumping from body to body.
Yep. It's a weird pod people
Oh,
movie.
fuck. It's awful.
Yeah, it's not great. I do have a soft spot for it, though, because I think it is so weird.
Yeah.
And so off the mark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, the first time I ever watched these, I watched these totally out of order. And so this may have been, like, the second or third one that I ever watched.
Okay.
And I did like it because it just is so batshit.
Yeah.
Watching it this time, I will say, I was able to pick out some more flaws. For one thing, it is slow as fuck.
Oh my god, yeah, so this movie, I was stunned to learn, is less than 90 minutes long. But it feels like it's 4 hours. And maybe, we watched the unrated version, so maybe it's longer than the regular one.
Might be like a minute longer,
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah. So still clocking in at under an hour and a half.
Yeah. There's also some weird edit jumps and cuts and almost at some points it felt like the director was maybe trying to be kind of artsy about this.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and say that you can't be artsy with a Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah. No, I mean, others have tried as well.
Yeah.
And failed.
I think 6 is the closest that anyone has ever come to that.
Yeah.
And still, he knew what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
He knew that he was still making Friday the 13th trash.
Yeah.
And that's all these movies are. They're
Yeah,
trash.
this movie is more trash than the others.
Absolutely. But I still dislike 7 more than I dislike this one.
I think, and I don't know how much of it is switching studios, but like, just the look of this one feels disconnected from the rest of the series.
Yeah.
And I know like the look of Jason is completely different.
Yep.
And I think the fact that it just so a lot of times during this movie I thought of Rise of Skywalker. Because at the beginning, like, you really need Poe Dameron to come in and just, sigh heavily and be like, somehow Jason has returned. Because Jason is just up and around. We saw him die pretty definitively. Like, he fell into toxic waste and was a little child at the end of the last movie. And like, the thing with you are a Voorhees, basically. Like, the only one who can kill a Voorhees is a Voorhees. What the fuck?
That entire subplot is insane.
Hot garbage.
It is a fucking mess.
But
boy.
But yeah, like, just the, story stuff aside, I feel like the look of it, it just feels different.
It really does.
Yeah. It's like going from Russell T Davies to Stephen Moffat, Doctor Who. Like, you can tell,
something's different.
Something's different. They got more money, maybe, or I don't know what, but
right.
it was weird.
Prior to this, every Friday the 13th movie has come out yearly.
Right.
So Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, comes out in 1989. This movie comes out in 1993.
Okay.
4-year gap.
Okay.
It's a new studio, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Some sensibilities have changed, obviously. And even though it is not a Miramax film, for some reason it really feels like a Miramax film.
It 100% does.
Especially the opening, of which... before I even get into that, it's all sort of tied in.
Yeah.
In which this movie is like someone said, "Hey, let's turn the Jason movie into like a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie."
Yeah.
Because there is so much gunplay in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It like. And in light of recent events and just America in general, it was really disturbing this time around.
Yeah, it doesn't all feel great.
No, it really doesn't.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of a mind that, like, I am totally fine with fiction guns.
Yeah.
I'm okay with gunplay in movies. I do think that we need heavy restrictions in real life, so that we can enjoy movies.
Yeah.
But there is just so fucking much in this movie. Like, the entire opening.
Oh, God, yeah, that... It felt like parody.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the whole opening sequence. The FBI or whatever task force that just annihilates Jason.
The Voorhees task force?
Yeah.
I guess?
Yeah. The VTF.
Yeah.
It just, like, the coroner says with a sigh that he's shot over 100 times.
Yeah.
And gets blown up. And yeah, it really did feel like this is a cartoon. We are making fun of this.
Right, but also...
But I don't think that was the intention.
Right, yeah, like I don't think... No one had a tone in mind for this movie.
Yeah.
Because you're right, some of it is so way over the top, but it's also, I don't want to say treated preciously, but
well, everything's it's so serious.
yeah,
You've got the lore of Jason with Mr. X, the bounty hunter.
Creighton Duke.
Yes, Creighton Duke. Sorry, he will always and forever be Mr. X from the X-Files to me. But yeah, like we get all of this like backstory for Jason, and they're flushing out his family, and yeah, and
it's all bullshit.
It is total bullshit. Yeah, I mean, obviously,
yeah,
but it's taken so seriously.
Yep. So for some reason, and it's been a hot minute since I've seen it, it reminds me a lot of Halloween 6.
Okay.
Which is The Curse of Michael Myers. And I feel like there's a very, very similar plot in that movie, which comes out 3 years later than this.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Which is the one that features Paul Rudd.
Okay.
But there's like, yeah, a Myers family lineage, and there's like a cult that's sort of like trying to use Michael for like nefarious purposes.
Yeah.
But there's also like a bounty hunter who knows all about the backstory and just how to properly kill Michael Myers, and he wears a cowboy hat and all black, and
oh Jesus.
Which again also just turns around and reminds me of just the state of comic books at this period of time too.
Yeah.
This is all just so very testosterone driven.
Yeah.
To a ridiculous degree.
Yeah. The commitment to lore too just like feels like a 90s X-Men thing.
Yep.
Like, here comes Mr. Sinister to explain the connection to the Summers brothers, and the secret third Summers brother is Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, gosh. And it's all so unnecessary.
Yeah.
And just honestly, it takes you out of it.
Yeah.
Because it makes you think, well, wait, Jason has had a secret sister this entire time?
Mm-hmm.
From whom? When? Where?
Yeah.
Has she always been in Crystal Lake?
Yeah, I feel like the retcon, I guess, of Jason's sister.
Yeah.
Like it could have easily been like, oh, Jason's dad got remarried or whatever,
yeah.
and they're half siblings. Like, even just something like that would have been fine.
Right.
And we just never knew about them. Or like after everything happened, he changed their name or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, it was Ray Palpatine. Is really what it was.
Yeah. And yeah, but even Ray didn't even know.
That's true.
Diana, her name played by Erin Gray in this movie.
Okay.
Seemingly knows that she is Jason's secret sister or whatever the hell.
Or grand sister?
No, it's her sister.
Well, no, so
sister.
Her mother was Jason's sister. I think is what Creighton says. I thought.
The waitress.
The waitress's mother,
right,
was Jason's sister.
Is that what he says?
I think so.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
It really doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
If we just watched the movie,
yeah.
If we can't keep it straight, then it's unnecessary. Because I thought that too. But if Jason was born in 1946,
right, then
that woman would have been way too young to be his sister as well.
I mean,
she's Gen X. She's not a boomer, for sure.
She is definitely not Gen X.
That's true. No, she's whatever the middle generation is between boomers and Gen X.
Because she is. So Erin Gray, is like, I will say this movie has like more actors that I recognize in it than any other
Yeah.
Friday the 13th movie to this point.
Yeah, I mean, none of them as big as Kevin Bacon,
Right,
but
or Crispin Glover or Corey Feldman.
yeah. But people that I recognize from things for sure, character actors and stuff.
Yeah, and Erin Gray was like a major sex pot from the 70s.
Okay.
She was in Buck Rogers,
Okay.
most famously. But you know, for me, she's always been, you know, the hot mom from Silver Spoons.
Oh, wow, okay.
With, Ricky Schroeder.
Yeah.
You know, so she's significantly old enough, I guess. You know?
Yeah.
However, you know, the woman playing her daughter looks older than her, even though I'm fairly sure she isn't.
Yeah.
But also, Erin Gray just has really good genes. Still looks really good.
It's those Voorhees genes.
Yeah. But also, so we got to figure in the timeline as well.
Right.
So by this point, we are probably in the mid 2000s.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, late George W. Bush presidency at this point.
I mean, you know, one of the characters has a flip phone, so, you know, totally fits in.
Yeah, no, I can see it. Yeah. And talks on it, doesn't just text.
Right,
so,
right, yeah.
Sure. Prescient this movie was. No, I like that. I like that Stephen Colt pulls out his cell phone at the exact moment that we discover he is a total piece of shit.
Yep.
Like, it's so perfect. Like, in the early 90s, if you had a cell phone, you were an asshole.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, in the 2020s, same.
True. Yeah. True.
Especially if you talk on it.
Yeah. Who does that?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Who knows? So recognized Erin Gray. Stephen Culp you recognized from West Wing, I guess.
Yeah, and I know he's been in a few other things, but I
Yeah.
primarily recognize him from The West Wing.
He looked familiar to me. I'm sure I've seen him in stuff. I've never watched The West Wing. But for a minute, I thought he was somebody else. I thought he was Joseph Culp.
Okay.
Who was actually Robert Culp's son.
Okay.
Stephen Culp is not.
Okay.
Joseph Culp played Dr. Doom in the Corman Fantastic Four movie.
Wow.
And so I thought for a minute that, like, oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But no, not the same guy.
Wow.
And then there's that short, whiny-voiced guy with the southern drawl.
Yeah, is his name Tracy Jordan, I think?
Leslie Jordan.
Leslie Jordan, that's right, okay.
Yeah.
Not Tracy Jordan.
No, yeah. And then, so I want to kind of veer off here.
Okay.
So the main character of this movie, Stephen,
Mm-hmm.
the sort of befuddled boyfriend guy who gets blamed for all the murders.
Yeah.
In this movie, is played by an actor named John D. LeMay.
Okay.
Who previously known to me as one of the leads of Friday the 13th, the series.
Okay, I was going to ask you because I know you've been watching the series.
Yes.
Is he the same character?
No.
Okay.
So, in 1987, Frank Mancuso, who produced the Friday the 13th movies, was also producing this television show. And I don't know if it was him or somebody else, but they decided that they should use basically his connection and call the show Friday the 13th, the series, to basically have name recognition.
Okay.
However, the series and the movie franchise, zero to do with each other.
Really?
Nothing at all.
So what is Friday the 13th, the series?
Friday the 13th, the series was a first-run syndication show that my mom and I used to watch at like Sundays at like 10 p.m.
Okay.
on Fox 45. It is Very Canadian.
Okay. Sure.
And it stars John DeLeMay as Ryan. And it starred an actress model named Roby as his cousin Mickey.
Okay.
And they both, in the show, inherit an antique store from their uncle. And they decide that they don't want to keep the antique store. They've never met the uncle. They've never met each other. They just want to get rid of everything. So they sell every antique and try to close the shop. But then they find out that their uncle had made a deal with the devil. And all the antiques were cursed.
Oh, of course. Okay. So it's a 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo scenario.
Very similar, yeah.
Okay.
And so then they have to go back and track down all the antiques that they had sold and all the antiques that their uncle had sold.
Okay.
And put them in a vault so that nobody will be hurt or murdered.
It really is the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. Yeah. Okay. All right. So is it safe to assume that the Necronomicon that appears in this movie was one of those antiques?
No, because they have nothing to do with each other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to draw connections.
I understand.
That's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Imagine sitting down to watch Friday the 13th, the series, thinking you're getting something Jason related, and it's not at all.
Imagine me, 9-year-old me.
Yeah, all right.
I was thinking, okay, so I'm going to watch, a Jason TV show, And I think by that point, Freddy's Nightmares, which was the Nightmare on Elm Street television program,
sure,
had started. And while that did not necessarily have anything to do with Nightmare on Elm Street, it was at least hosted by Freddy.
I was going to say, that's more like a Tales from the Crypt kind of thing.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
And there were, a handful of episodes that actually involved Freddy.
Okay.
I've got that.
Yeah.
And I'm primed for Friday the 13th, the series, and it has zero to do with Hockey Mask.
That's so strange.
Yeah. But I watched almost every episode as a kid. Loved it.
Yeah.
And I recently stumbled across it again and have been watching it. And, it's very 80s. It's very Canadian, but I'm enjoying it.
All right.
The most recent episode that I watched featured an antique comic book that was cursed.
Ooh.
And Ryan in the show is a comic book nerd.
Okay.
And an aspiring comic artist.
Sure.
And so he's trying to help track down this comic. Finds out that it has stumbled back into the hands of the creator of the comic.
Ooh.
Who got fucked over by his publisher.
Oh.
And the curse allows him to become the monster that's in the comic.
Nice.
And he kills the publisher.
Okay. Interesting.
And he's played by Ray Walston.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Oh, so does he have a long beard and the finger armor too?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
I assume it's an Alan Moore thing.
We're thinking more along the lines of like a Steve Ditko.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay. That makes more sense. Oh, man.
So then when I watched this movie for the first time and saw that Ryan from Friday the 13th, the series, is in it, I got very confused.
Yeah, I can see how that could be confusing.
Yeah. But no, not the same character. Has nothing to do with the show or the movies.
That's so strange.
It's weird, yeah.
Ugh. This movie. Can I tell you? Okay, so maybe I had an unreasonable expectation for this movie, but this movie commits an even more egregious sin than the previous movie in the series did.
Okay.
In that one, at least Jason goes to Manhattan at some point. In this one, I was like, okay, so it picks up where the last one ended. Jason's dead. We're gonna see Jason go to hell. And some crazy shit's gonna go down. No! Jason goes to hell, with maybe 2 minutes left in the movie. Don't call the movie Jason Goes to Hell if Jason's not gonna go to hell within the first 20 minutes.
I mean, hell is of your own making.
Yeah.
And hell is other people.
Hell is other people, and Jason does travel into other people. Okay,
yeah.
Fine. Was it in 6 where the kid's reading Sartre in bed?
Yeah.
Wow, it really all does connect.
And then, you did mention that the Necronomicon shows up in this movie.
Yeah.
Just blatantly.
Yeah. No, just like obviously it is. That is what it is.
Yep. And I believe the knife that Jessica has to use to kill Jason.
Yes, the mystical Voorhees knife.
Yes. I believe that is also the same knife from the Evil Dead films.
Right. Yeah.
Or at least very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if New Line had anything to do with the Evil Dead movies, or just Sam Raimi said, "Sure, go ahead." It's weird.
It is weird, and I skimmed through IMDb trivia looking for anything interesting, and didn't really find much of anything.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I did read was that people, take the presence of the Necronomicon and that knife to mean that Jason is a Deadite.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they were just Easter eggs.
Yeah. A lot of people like to read things into other things.
Yeah.
Nobody accepts that sometimes a cigar is just a cigar.
Right.
Although, I guess eventually it did lead to the Freddy versus Jason versus Ash comic book.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh, yeah, there were 2 series.
That's cool.
Yeah,
all right.
Published by Wildstorm.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. I'd read those.
Yeah.
So did those come out before the Freddy versus Jason movie?
That's a good question. I don't recall.
Okay.
I think they came out after.
Okay.
Because I'm fairly sure Freddy vs. Jason was a big enough hit that they were talking sequel at some point. And
sure.
then, of course, when that happened, it should be Freddy vs. Jason versus Ash.
Yeah.
And I believe the comic series were based on the screenplay that was written up for it.
Okay, that's cool.
Never got made, so
nice.
Yeah. Which, of course, we should mention Freddy.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Did not expect Freddy to come in at the end. That was very strange. Like, I figured there would be something.
Right.
Like, so the Jason gets pulled down into hell.
Sure.
And his mask is left in the front yard of the Voorhees house, I guess.
Yeah.
And a stray dog comes up and sort of paws at it a little bit. And at that point, I said, "Oh no." Because we had been talking about the movie The Mask earlier. And so in my mind, it was going to be like when Milo puts on the mask. And the dog was going to put on the Jason mask. And now the dog is Jason. Which, honestly, would watch. But no, the dog just walks away.
Yeah.
And the camera pulls in on the mask, and I thought, is like an eye gonna open or something? What's gonna happen here? No, the gloved hand of Freddy Krueger comes out of the ground and pulls the mask down in.
Yep.
What the fuck?
So, by this point, they had been anticipating, because, New Line now had control of Friday the 13th, or Jason.
Yeah.
And so Freddy versus Jason was pretty much, like, from the jump, the thing that they were going to do.
Okay.
So they were pretty much setting it up here.
Okay.
And it would pay off 12 years later.
I was going to say, yeah, because, like, Jason X comes out before that does, right?
Yep.
So, that's really weird.
Yeah. They had some issues.
I guess.
Getting Freddy vs. Jason made. But yeah, so it was all set up for that. I was very excited to see your reaction to Freddy's glove.
Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah. Possibly the only fun thing in this movie?
Possibly. Yeah. I mean, for as much as I hated a lot of the gore, it was pretty well done, I thought. And like I don't know if it's fun, but the part where he impales the girl, like the girl and the guy are having sex in the tent.
Yeah. And
then Jason impales the girl and then like pulls the spike or whatever like up through her body.
Yeah.
Like, it's not fun, but it's neat. Like, it's not something you see every day.
No. yes, people are dying.
Yeah.
And we should take a minute. We should do this after every movie where characters die. And just take a minute and mourn for their loss.
I don't remember their names.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
We can mourn their souls.
R.I.P. Allison Smith from The West Wing as well. Leo's daughter. Whose name I don't remember.
Means nothing to me.
I know.
But, I like a good gore gag.
Yeah.
And there are plenty in this one.
Yeah.
I liked the thing crawling out of the cop's neck.
Yeah, that little baby Voldemort. I hated that. That was terrible. And then crawling up Jessica's mother's vagina, presumably.
Yep.
And inhabiting the body.
Yep.
That was horrible.
And coming back fully formed as Jason.
Right. Yeah, there was magic going on down below, I guess.
Yep. There's always magic going down below.
That's true. Okay. Yikes.
So Jason himself is in this movie in like 2 minutes?
Yeah.
3 minutes?
Yeah. I feel like if we see more of unmasked Kane Hodder as a security guard than we do of him as Jason.
Yeah. Best Jason.
Yeah. I admit I kind of regret not going to Fan Expo Columbus to meet Kane Hodder this past weekend. Like Saturday rolled around and I was like, I could do that. Nah.
I can't imagine what he would charge just to meet him.
Yeah.
But maybe he's cool about it.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know nothing about the man other than in 1993, still rocking a mullet.
Right. Look, he had a signature look. He was like, you're going to cover my head with boils when I'm Jason. At least let me have my natural hair as security guard number 2.
Oh, come on. He was security guard number 1.
He had fewer lines than the other one, so I'm pretty sure he was number 2.
It just means he's the strong silent type.
That's true. All right, but it still means you're second. You're lower on the call sheet.
All right, fine.
Oh, God, this movie was really something.
I feel like, we've said this before on some of the other ones. If it just had more sense of fun about it, it probably would have been much better.
Yeah.
But also, oh God, it's just the why of why did they choose this script?
Yeah.
This particular story with these particular elements that just do nothing to add. Like no one is clamoring for Jason's backstory beyond what we already know.
Yeah. Jason's supernatural origins.
Right. Which, even if that was explained, that would be something. But they don't even do that.
Yeah.
Like, I guess we're just supposed to imply that he's some sort of demon baby?
I guess.
And that hockey mask zombie Jason is just his natural form, and I don't...
So you mentioned the script.
What little there is, sure.
I did read that there was an original script that was just completely terrible. And New Line was coming up on a deadline.
All right.
And so the original screenwriter brought in one of his buddies, and they spent 4 days writing what ended up being the screenplay for this movie. So if you take into account the fact that it was written in 4 days, basically, we gotta get something done.
Right.
Then it kind of holds together.
Okay, credit where it's due.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated and want to know what it originally was before this then.
I would love to know that as well.
I can't imagine how bad it must have been to flat out say that, okay, this is the improvement.
Yeah. Yeah, and apparently this one has nothing, like, basically they threw out everything about the previous one.
Wow.
And just started over.
I wonder, and maybe you read this, I don't know, but I wonder if it was like one of those things like old, Silver Age DC comics where they come up with the cover and say, okay, there you go, make a story.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised.
Did they say, okay, this one's called Jason Goes to Hell, go.
Yeah. I mean, basically.
And I mean, listen, I probably would have found it more enjoyable had, we spent a significant time of Jason, like, wandering around hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wanted from a movie called Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah. I mean, Hellboy in Hell, it's about him in hell.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on.
Get it together, 1993. Instead we get weird mouthworms and lots of man-on-man making out.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, oh god, the thing traveling between mouths every time is horrible.
I did personally love once the deputy or whatever transfers the worm baby into Stephen Culp's mouth.
Yeah.
And then he just disintegrates.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that sequence.
That's one of those that I was like, oh, this is really well done.
Yeah.
I cannot watch it. But like the part where his jaw falls off, that was legitimately neat.
Yep. Can be effects. They do good stuff.
Yeah. But then there's other stuff that's just dumb.
Yeah, no, you're totally right.
Like when Jason or Stephen Culp Jason like elbows Joey in the face, and her like, I don't know what exactly happens. Like her jaw goes back into her head.
I think. Yeah, something like that.
And it just looks like...
Just caves in her face.
Yeah, and it just like... It spends too much time looking at her face.
Yeah,
and it just looks stupid.
Yeah. Maybe in the theatrical it cut quicker, I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Yeah. But also, just like... It feels like a long time before the movie goes anywhere.
Yeah.
And it does a lot of... setting the pieces to sort of, bring about like this conclusion and tie everything together, but it doesn't even do that well.
Yeah.
Because we get introduced to the characters piecemeal. We get, this, the Stephen Culp character as like a TV reporter, on his show. Like
Bill O'Reilly, I feel like.
Yeah. It was very like Inside Edition in the early 90s.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Yep. Setting up Diana and this mystery about like, what's going on there. And then we've got Steven, and he's involved with her daughter, and they're apart, but she's got a secret way to get them back together. And it just takes so long to connect those pieces together, and then when they do, like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah. I feel like, so also, Creighton Duke is, like, I know that there was stuff cut with him from the original cut of the movie, like his backstory with Jason, because there's even a reference to it when they see each other in the house, and he's like, remember me?
Right.
But we don't know what that's about.
No.
I feel like if they had fleshed that character out and spent some time with him, like he appears in the beginning, he's in the diner, he disappears, and then somehow is in jail, and then somehow gets out of jail, and he just like they didn't know what to do with him,
right? But
I feel like that's an interesting character that I wanted to know more about. How does he know all of this stuff about the Jason lore,
right?
And we don't get any of it, and it's just half-assed nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, and the thing is like, I didn't care.
Yeah, no, that's fair too.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? Somehow Jason has returned.
Right, yeah. Maybe that would have made things better to flesh his character out more. But in the end, it's just entirely unnecessary. It's ultimately not what I'm watching a Friday the 13th movie for.
Yeah.
I'm not watching for the lore and the mythology. Like, it's fine, to turn him into a supernatural being that just goes around killing people.
Yeah.
But then when you try to, mix, magic or whatever the fuck, using, and... them using the Necronomicon from the Evil Dead was just a wink and a nod. A little too far.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's still sort of implying, black magic or rituals or whatever.
Yeah.
And being in the Voorhees house, I guess.
Yeah.
Which I don't think they ever fully come out and say that's what it is.
No, yeah, it's sort of, well, I guess we see like a mailbox or whatever in front that says Voorhees, and then it's so yeah, you can surmise it from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sort of like the inference is that maybe Pamela, tried to resurrect her son or something, but again, all stuff that probably ended up on the cutting room floor.
Yeah. It's just it's not good.
Yeah.
I still, again, like I said, I like it better than 7.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. And I think there are some neat ideas in it, poorly executed.
Yeah. Yeah, I like there was a movie in the 90s called Fallen, with Denzel Washington and I think John Goodman.
Yeah.
And Denzel Washington is like hunting a serial killer who can jump from body to body.
Yeah.
And I really like that idea. And we sort of get that here. I've never actually seen Fallen. I've always wanted to see it because I thought it was a neat idea.
Yeah.
Seeing it executed here, maybe I don't want to watch Fallen.
Maybe it's better in Fallen.
I hope so.
I mean, you can't do much worse.
That's true.
No, there is an intriguing element, to a horror or sci-fi movie about, a creature that can assume any form, but the thing is like with Jason, and at least in this, up until the very end anyway, once he jumps into that body becomes just a mindless, slumbering Jason zombie.
Yeah.
Except for at the end when suddenly he can talk.
Oh, right. I forgot he could talk.
Yep.
I totally forgot about that.
And also, not only that, Jason is a lot more vocal in this one than he has ever been. Like, when he's just in, classic Jason form.
Yeah.
He's doing a lot of grunting and crying and whimpering. When he possesses... Because after the big diner shootout slaughter, we see the boots of a cop enter the diner and look around in first-person view.
Yeah.
And then get scare-courted by Jason. And then we cut to Diana's house where Jessica and Steven are, and the cops come in.
Multiple cops,
and so we don't know which one is which.
Yeah.
But they're both talking.
Yeah.
They're both having full conversations.
Yeah. No, that hadn't even occurred to me.
Yeah.
But that was weird.
And yeah, we're led to believe it's one cop, but it's actually the other.
Yeah. Tricky.
Yeah. It's not a good movie.
It's not a good movie.
I'll admit that.
I'm sorry to shit all over one of your favorites.
It's not one of my favorites.
I know. Good, because it is terrible.
I fully recognize how bad it is. But yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Nothing.
At least it's the last one.
That's right.
Though, I mean, it's just the final Friday. Maybe all the other ones take place on a Saturday.
Oh, yeah. Could be.
That's probably what it is. Yeah. Alright, never mind. Oh, is anything bringing you joy this week?
I have a comic book that's in stores right now.
What? Well, like a small press thing, like you printed it at Kinko's and you dropped it off yourself?
No. Image Comics.
I'm sorry, what?
Like third major publisher in the United States, at least.
Yeah.
Underneath Marvel and DC, started by Todd McFarlane, Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, Eric Larson back in 1992.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark Silvestri,
Jim Valentino.
Yeah.
Will Sportatia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with their work. What do you have to do with them?
Mostly nothing.
Okay. All right. That's what I thought. Carry on.
So you and I, we do this podcast.
What? Is that what these microphones are for?
Yep. It's called the Viewmasters, and we are part of the Gutter Trash Podcasting Network, which at one point in time boasted multiple podcasts. And I guess technically 2 is still multiple.
It is. I mean, it's the smallest multiple possible, but it is.
Yeah. But there's another podcast on the network called the Savage Fincast. And it is one of the few podcasts that I had zero to do with. Other than I knew the guy who started it and said, "Here, have some internet space."
All right.
And so, yeah, so guy I know by the name of Jim Purcell started a Savage Dragon related podcast, Eric Larson related podcast. He was asking me 10 years ago, almost 11 at this point, for some advice on getting started with podcasting. And, at the time, I'd been podcasting for several years at that point, but I still knew nothing. And at this point, I've been podcasting for almost 14 years, and I still know nothing.
Sure.
But for some reason, he listened to a little bit of what I had to say. And then I said, "Hey, I've got bandwidth. Why don't you just, I'll let you guys, set up shop on my stuff. It's all under your purview. Do whatever you need to. Just, this will be your URL." And they said, "Sure, thanks." And they've been going, 10 years strong, with Eric Larson's blessing.
Nice.
It is sort of an official, unofficial Savage Dragon podcast.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Eric Larson has been on it numerous times. Various other people involved with Savage Dragon's creation and spin-offs have all been interviewed at certain points. So as part of their 10th anniversary, they decided that they were going to just put together like a fanzine.
Sure.
A finzine, if you will.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's got a fin.
Yeah. And so Jim asked, since I've been hosting them for all these years, would you like to contribute something to it? And, me, I'm tired.
Yeah.
Don't have a lot of energy or patience to do much of anything, really.
Right.
So I said, I could probably muster up a pin-up or something like that. I was like, this thing is only going to be seen by 10 people. They're just going to publish it for themselves. They're going to give away a few copies to listeners. They're not going to be able to sell it. They had Eric Larson's blessing to do this thing, but it was strictly just a fanzine.
Sure.
I said, sure, I'll do a pinup, and so I worked on something and submitted to them, and said, thanks, looks great. Whenever we get a copy printed, we'll send you one. I said, cool, fantastic.
Yeah.
A couple months passed, and sends me a message. and says, "Hey." So we showed this to Eric Larson because we were just like, "Hey, this is the thing we did. Just take a look at it. Again, we're just gonna be giving it out." Eric Larson writes back, says, "Looks great. I'd like to publish it."
Amazing.
So now I have a pinup in a comic book published by Image Comics and Eric Larson.
That's pretty awesome.
It is called Super Freaks. It is a one-shot. It is, I think, 48 pages, something like that. Maybe
Okay.
more. 54 pages? 64? I don't know. It's
Multiple of 4, probably.
It's a $5 cover price. That's all I can tell you.
All right.
Your good local comic shops will give you a discount.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my work is now featured in a major comic published by Image Comics. And quite frankly, that is frightening and anxiety-inducing. But it is the thing that is currently bringing me joy this week.
That's pretty awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. I apologize for my long story.
That's okay. I did not off.
I'm bad.
I knew the story already, that's all.
No, it's okay.
It was primarily for the listener.
Yeah.
I'm a bad co-host. I am very happy for you. It's very cool.
Thank you. What about yourself? Please tell me a long story.
No. Obi-Wan Kenobi is on Disney Plus.
Oh, okay.
There are 3 episodes out now.
Oh, okay.
And I love it.
Alright.
Ewan McGregor, easily the best thing about the Star Wars prequels. And it's wonderful to see him in that role again. And yeah, that's probably it.
Okay.
I'm really enjoying that show. Looking forward to seeing where it goes.
That's cool.
And fuck the racists and misogynists who are mad about things on the show.
So I have due to the Super Freaks coming out and I've started just a month-long sketch day again at this point. So I have partially been back on Twitter. But I post and I leave.
Yeah.
I don't read anything.
That's the way to do it.
So I don't know anything about what you're talking about, and I hope to keep it that way.
That's good.
I have heard from a few people that I personally know that the Obi-Wan show is pretty good.
Yeah, I really like it.
And have had people actually recommend it to me, despite them knowing that I don't particularly care for Star Wars.
Right. You like some Star Wars.
I like some Star Wars.
Yeah. You might like this.
All right. I like Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
I want to see him do well.
It begins with the first episode starts with a comprehensive previously on.
All right.
Basically, you don't ever have to watch the prequels, just watch the opening 5-minute recap.
I like a good previously on.
Yeah. Previously on Star Wars.
I was listening to a different podcast earlier, and they were talking about the Book of Boba Fett, which I mostly only have heard bad things about.
Yeah.
But someone was saying that, if you just look at it as just like a spin-off of Mandalorian and not its own thing, then it's actually kind of okay.
Yeah.
But yet I still have zero desire to go back and watch that.
The second half of it is basically Mandalorian season 2.5.
Okay.
So that's worth watching.
All right.
Maybe start with episode 4 or 5. I forget where.
Okay.
But yeah, the Boba Fett stuff. Boba Fett is not a good character.
He is not.
There's nothing to Boba Fett.
Nope. Nothing at all.
And this show was an opportunity to bring some depth to a cool suit of armor. And it did not. It was awful.
That's pretty much the consensus of what I've heard about it.
Yeah. I feel like they made the show almost to spite all the fanboys, the Boba Fett fanboys who were like, Boba Fett's the coolest, he should get his own show. And they were like, oh yeah, you really think so? This is what his show looks like.
So no spoilers or anything, but I do have to ask because with the end of season 2 of Mandalorian,
yes,
sets it up so that I pretty much never want to watch another episode of Mandalorian.
Sure.
by taking away the one thing that I actually enjoyed about that show for the
Yeah.
most part.
Yeah.
Does it set it up so that it would make me ever want to watch it again?
It very much does.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll give it a shot then.
You might cry.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's worth jumping into.
Okay, all right.
And again, I think you can jump into just the back half of it.
Sure.
And not worry about anything that came before.
Okay. Yeah, because I do not give the slightest shit about Boba Fett. There is one time he was interesting, and it was in the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Right? Oh, man. But yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi good.
All right, good. I'm glad to hear that. All right, so, I'm just reading this here. Turns out they made more Jason movies after this.
Hold on a second. What? That doesn't seem right.
I know. It said final. We talked about it.
Again.
2 finals.
Yeah.
That should be it.
Final.
Right?
Yeah.
No, they made another one after this. So I guess we gotta watch it.
Okay.
But I think you're gonna be excited.
Yeah?
It is Jason X.
Ooh. Jason 10?
Jason 10.
Is this the one where Charles Xavier finally recruits him?
Yes.
Because he has the mutant power of resurrection.
Yep. He's the whole basis of Krakoa.
He is, yeah. Actually, they don't talk about it much. It's all, Moira McTaggart, whatever. No, it's actually Jason Voorhees.
Oh, God. Can I just say that I hate the X-Men right now?
I was really excited about the current X-Men status quo when it first started. And for, a few months after all of that stuff ended. Now it's just spinning its wheels.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's not the X-Men.
Yeah.
Yeah. The X-Men are, supposed to be a minority group, feared and hated, but still trying to fight for humanity.
Yeah.
And this is just, it's another Wakanda situation. It's another, Inhumans on the Moon thing where it's just this cut off, society of people just making their own rules and doing their own shit, and I don't give a fuck about that.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. It'll all go back to normal within a few years, I'm sure.
I'm very curious as to how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I am too. I don't know. They'll figure something out.
All right. Jason next.
Jason 10 next week.
Goodbye. Thank you for listening to The Viewmasters. You can subscribe to the show directly at view.guttertrash.net or at iTunes and leave us a review. Visit view.guttertrash.net for email information and links to Facebook and Twitter. We'll see you next time on The Viewmasters.